today's episode. My name is Jessica Gonçalves. I'm a Brazilian ESL teacher, and in this conversation, we'll look at the main challenges English learners face, how teachers can support students who lack confidence, and discuss strategies for taking the IELTS exam. We'll finish with practical tips to help learners improve their results, build fluency, and become more confident in English. Let's begin.
In your experience as a teacher, what do you believe are the most significant advantages or differences of having private classes online?
Well, I find that they ask many more questions. Like when they feel comfortable with you, they know it's their time. They don't. I feel like in Brazil, a lot of people know how to speak English, but they don't. Even if in a group of friends, like intimate friends that really know how to speak, they don't feel comfortable speaking English. It's kind of like fear of being judged or something. And like having the space, like a safe space to speak, to make mistakes, to really ask questions, it's better for them. You have more freedom to adapt to whatever they need. And I feel like a lot of people prefer that, even though some people say, I don't like online lessons, but not my students. They actually really thrive on that.
From your perspective as an educator, what would you say are the main challenges your students typically face, whether related to language skills, motivation, or adapting to different learning strategies?
I feel like a lot of people are averse to grammar. Like they always feel like English grammar is like a monster and it's so different and it's complicated. There are so many tenses. But actually, if you think about it, Brazilian Portuguese is way more difficult than English. So I feel like it's just making the parallel of like what are the Brazilian tenses, how do you adapt to English, that to English. But sometimes there isn't something that is exactly the same, and they really need to look into it and understand the use of each tense and not feel so afraid. It takes time to practice. You really need to pay attention, and I feel like sometimes at school you don't have the time to really understand it with in depth. I have some students that are like very successful in their careers. They're older, they have built like a name for themselves, they are very eloquent in their native language, and it's a challenge to go back to the learning the basics, and not being able to express yourself with all the words that you know in your native language but you don't know in English. So I feel like they struggle a lot with this. It feels a little bit powerless. You think something so like it's advanced in your mind in your native language, but in English you cannot say it. And many of them, like older students, they tell me this, like, I don't know how to express myself in the way that I do in Portuguese.
When you notice that a student lacks confidence, what specific strategies or approaches do you use to help motivate them and gradually build their self-confidence in the learning process?
I like to show them people, like famous people, Brazilians that are speaking English in interviews, or they're really successful. They're making mistakes, but they can be understood, and nobody is going to correct them in a professional setting, in a TV show or something like that. So it shows them like, okay, I can make mistakes. Nobody's gonna laugh at me. And when I lived abroad, it's incredibly common for people to make mistakes, and if you understand the message, that's fine. Go ahead, and that's communication. So it's really rare that somebody's gonna be like, you use the incorrect preposition here. You don't know how to speak. Actually, that's quite rude to do, and it doesn't happen. It rarely happens, actually. So I try to build the confidence of like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's actually part of the process. If you make a mistake, we can tackle that and then study it better, or that's why we are here, right? The classroom, it's for that.
Based on your experience preparing learners for the IELTS exam, what aspects of the test tend to create the greatest amount of doubt or uncertainty for students? And what would you identify as their main difficulties across the different components of the assessment?
Well, a lot of the questions are related to vocabulary because it's a little bit more advanced. So they struggle with that, like, oh, there's so many words that I don't know. How do I navigate the test? What should I do in this part? And a lot of students, they want to understand everything in order to answer. So it's actually the opposite. You should, try to understand the main idea. You have to make a lot of inferences. You have to work with the context. If you don't know a word, it's highly likely you're not gonna know everything that is in the test. So you have to really learn how to do it and learn how to work with what you know and try to, sometimes guess, sometimes it's an educated guess, and knowing how the test works, what language is expected, so linkers, for example, will always be there. Understanding how phrases are built. Is it an opposition idea? Is it, this type of things help a lot. You cannot freeze, like, oh my god, I don't know this word, and now I'm gonna do badly, and what's gonna happen? Some students, they completely freeze and they cannot move on, and it's a real problem. So you should really, a tip that I give them is, like, try to read the questions first before reading the text, so you know what you're looking for. You can highlight some keywords in the questions and try to look for them in the text or synonyms, and in that way it feels like you're in control. If you're reading the text and it's very complicated, you're looking for specific information, so you can kind of like focus a little bit more. I think your time management is going to be more efficient when you do that. And if you don't know, don't worry about it. You can come back to it later, and it takes practice, and students should really, that's the main thing, I guess, should really practice the real test with the timing, with, like, you have to simulate exam conditions. Be in a quiet space, you in the test, and try to do it by yourself. You cannot be like taking hours to research the words and everything. You can do that later, but really feeling how the test is going to be, it's the best option. Yes, definitely. And it's difficult for them to practice the whole thing. Sometimes the students are so busy that they have to break into the parts and today I'm gonna just practice the listening, because they don't have time. But that's not really like the real experience you're gonna get during the test, because it's almost 3 hours of sitting down in a stressful situation, so you really have to focus. I sometimes recommend them to try to do the whole thing during the weekend when they have more time, but it's important to feel how you're gonna feel during the test in the real situation.
Finally, what key recommendations do you usually share with students who want to improve their results, develop greater fluency, and steadily become more confident and proficient in English?
I always encourage my students to immerse themselves in English as much as possible, like watching videos, TED Talks, news reports, anything in English that you can be in contact with every day, like at least 15 minutes a day. It's gonna help for sure. You might think like, I'm not really paying attention, I'm not taking notes, but you're learning. You're in contact with the language, your brain is processing that, and it helps, definitely helps, not only for IELTS students, but for everyone who's learning a language. That makes a very, a big difference. And I think it's impossible for a student to have a good performance if you only have the lesson, like I only have 1 hour per week with my teacher, and that's when I'm gonna speak English. Right? I always tell them, like, they ask me, how soon can I be fluent? And I'm like, it depends. How dedicated are you? You know, how much time do you spare for English every day? Because if you just see me once a week and that's the only time you're gonna speak English, that's gonna take a while, you know? It takes longer. So it depends on their availability.